Hello, my name is Addison Jensen, and for my Art 100 final, I chose Claude Monet as my artist. Claude Monet was born on November 14th, 1840, in Paris. He was the second son of Claude Adolphe and Louise Justine Aubry Monet. In 1845, his family moved to Le Havre in Normandy. Claude's father wanted him to go into the family grocery store, but Claude wanted to be an artist. While his father didn't support his dream of becoming an artist, his mother did, because she was a singer. In 1851, he entered the Le Havre Secondary School of the Arts. He was first known locally for his charcoal caricatures, which he would sell. Claude took his first lessons from Jacques-François Auchard. On the beaches of Normandy, he then met artist Eugène Boudin, where he became his mentor and taught him to use oil paints. Boudin also taught him en plein air, which is outdoor techniques for painting. When Claude's mother died in 1857, he left school at the age of 16 and went to live with his widowed and childless aunt, Marie Jeanne. Claude was a founder of French Impressionist painting. Instead of copying paintings from other artists, as he had seen people doing in Paris, he would sit by a window and paint what he saw. In 1861, Claude joined the 1st Regiment of African Light Cavalry in Algeria for 2 years. He was supposed to be in Algeria for 7 years, but when he contracted typhoid, his aunt intervened to get him out of the army in exchange for him to go to university to become an artist. In 1862, he became a student of Charles Gleyre in Paris, and they shared new approaches to art in what later came to be known as Impressionism. Camille was a model for over 30 of Claude's paintings, and she was his favorite model, who later became his wife. Shortly after they were married, she gave birth to their first child, Jean. In 1868, Monet attempted suicide by throwing himself into the Seine due to financial reasons. Monet and his family fled to London and later Zondam during the war, where he worked on many paintings. After his excursions, Monet and Camille moved to Argenteuil in 1871. Camille became ill in 1876 and gave birth to their second son, Michel, in 1878. After the birth of their second son, she was weakened, and then they moved to the village of Vautoul. Camille died in 1879 of tuberculosis. After living in Vautoul for a few years, where he met his second wife, Alice Ochede, he discovered Giovanni. Claude and his family moved to Giovanni in 1883. At their house, he planted a large garden where he painted for most of the rest of his life. After the death of his second wife in 1911, he began to develop the first signs of cataracts. Claude underwent 2 operations in 1923 for his cataracts. After he had surgery, it was believed he could see colors on the ultraviolet spectrum. And then on December 5th, in 1926, at the age of 86, Claude died of lung cancer. My first painting is Impression Sunrise. Impression Sunrise was created from a scene in the port of Le Havre. Claude painted Impression Sunrise in 1873, and he first showed it at the first Impressionist exhibition of 1874. This painting was untypical of Monet's own work of this period and of Impressionism. The colors are very restrained, and the paint is applied not in discrete brushstrokes of contrasting colors, but in very thin washes. Monet saw this work as unfinished, which is why he adopted the title Impression to distinguish it from his other works in the same exhibition that he had done of Le Havre. In this painting, he stripped away the details to a bare minimum. This painting represents Claude's swift attempt to capture a fleeting moment. The term Impressionism derived from this painting. My second painting is the Water Lily Pond. Monet purchased land with a pond near his property in Giverny that would give him inspiration for his paintings. This is where his water lily garden came to life. In 1899, Monet began began a series of 18 views of the wooden footbridge over the pond. The vertical format of the painting gives prominence to the water lilies and their reflections on the pond. He did 12 of the 18 paintings in one summer. My third painting is Water Lilies. Water Lilies is a series of works by Monet. He painted more than 250 water lily paintings. In all of the water lilies paintings, he focuses on the surface of the water. Only the reflection of land or sky is shown in these paintings. Monet planted the water lilies before he painted them. He set up his garden as though it were a huge painting. Later in life, when Monet found out he had cataracts, it affected the way he painted. Some later paintings of water lilies have bright reds and yellows versus the blues and purples as a result of his cataracts. Water lilies opened the path to abstract painting. Monet even imported his water lilies from around the world. His water lilies were imported from Egypt and South America, although the city council told him to remove them so they wouldn't poison the water. He refused and painted them for the last 25 years of his life. My fourth painting is The Fields of Tulips in Holland. Monet spent a few days painting in Holland in the spring of 1886. Monet's painting of Fields of Tulips attracted Van Gogh's attention when he saw it in Paris. Van Gogh's paintings became directly influenced by the painting techniques of Monet. My fifth painting is Bouquet of Sunflowers. Monet painted Bouquet of Sunflowers in 1881. The sunflowers were taken from his garden in Vetoul. There are some similarities between Monet and Van Gogh's paintings of sunflowers, but Monet painted the sunflowers with no sign of decay. Monet's sunflowers were among his most popular, and this work accompanied 5 others to the Impressionist exhibition of 1882. My next painting is Giovanni in Springtime. Giovanni in Springtime depicts an area of the garden when the trees are heavy with pink blossoms and the sky is deep blue. The colors are bright with pinks, blues, greens, and yellows. The trees appear to have some movement to them, as if they are swaying in the breeze. The paint is dabbed on in layers to add textured details. There is a sense of speed and excitement in this painting. The simple brushstrokes portray gentle movement. Monet painted Giovanni in Springtime in 1899. My next painting is Arm of the Seine near Vetoul. During the summer of 1878, Monet had to leave Paris and live in Vetoul due to financial difficulties. Monet concentrated on the stretch of the Seine that shielded the town from the boat traffic. The reflection in the water inverts the tranquil activity of the blue summer sky. The golden morning light depicts the early autumn. Monet painted Arm of the Seine near Vetoul in September of 1878. My next painting is Beach at Étretat. In January of 1883, Monet visited the small town of Étretat. Monet was particularly taken by Courbet's painting, The Cliff at Étretat After a Storm, and he wanted to paint the cliffs that overlooked the beach. His trip was cut short due to appalling weather, and he wasn't able to complete the large oil paintings that he had planned. My last painting is Madame Monet and Child. During the 1870s, Monet was working in Argenteuil and produced a series of paintings of Camille in garden settings. These paintings are full of golden light and blooming flowers. In this particular painting, Camille is sitting in the garden with their child. Camille is seen knitting while the child is playing with toys. There are orange and pinkish flowers among the shrubbery behind them. This painting in the series was painted in 1875. I have always been fascinated by Claude Monet's paintings and loved researching about him. Although I didn't get the chance to talk about all of his work, each and every one of his paintings is unique, and I have enjoyed looking at his paintings. Today, his garden and home live on as tourists can visit them, where over 500,000 tour each year. Thank you.